Right, hello everyone, welcome back to a brand new episode of Trash Talk. I'm here with a very special guest. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. It's me. Hi.
Well, we're here with TechSaint, and just jumping straight into it. Usually with episodes, I like to go like categorically just from the beginning, right? So with your start on YouTube, what got you into just the video creation process? Was there any channels before, like the TechSaint channel?
Oh
So,
yeah,
so what happened with that?
there was a lot of other channels before this one. This is kind of a little bit of lore. Um you remember like 2017, 2018, like the whole like YouTube intro fucking craze that everyone was doing, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
dog shit, like 3D intro thing that everyone was
Mhm.
doing. I used to run a channel. It was called Paradox Gaming at one point, and I literally used to go on YouTube. I was a fucking asshole. I will fully admit it. I was a total fucking dick when I first started YouTube, right? This is like when I was like
Mhm.
11. So chill
Mhm.
out, all right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I was a little asshole. I used to go on there. I'd find like 3D intros on YouTube and I would like compile them in this like giant like top 5 thing and I would post them and they'd get like 30 views. It was just so sad. It was really funny. And then eventually that channel got, I think, like 2 guideline strikes because I mean it's just me taking other people's shit and then like posting it. So it was fair. So I eventually just took down that channel and then made a new one with the intent of just making like
Mhm.
shitty like tech reviews from my bedroom. And then I kind of found out about like the video essay genre and I was like, wait, this actually looks kind of interesting. I'll look into it. And then I kind of, you know, broke into that. And then I learned, wait, you can actually kind of do a lot of cool things with like video editing and shit. And so I did that. And then
Mhm.
this is where I'm at now.
Yeah, well, it seems like you had like a bit of a jump in content, right? Like I feel like usually with commentators, especially, right, if you're going into the video essay stuff, what usually happens is it will like start off as like more gameplay content, right? Be gameplay and then commentary or commentary gameplay stuff, whatever, right? So I guess for you, your
Yeah,
journey
that is
is
kind of what
a
happened
little
with
bit
me
different.
because I
Hmm.
did do kind of like because I used to watch like people like Mamulus and all of them, and
Yeah.
I kind of tried to do that format too with like gameplay in my
Hmm.
older videos, and then I discovered people like The Right Opinion and how they like they go into a more like nuanced view on topics, and I'm like, okay, wait, this looks actually kind of interesting. What if I can like try this and see if I'm interested? And I did, and I ended up really enjoying it. So.
Yeah,
And then I
100%.
kind of
And
found out
mhm.
about the smaller part of the commentary community. I found out, I found a lot of people, a lot of great people, a lot of bad people too. So, and this is where I'm at. I'm pretty happy with it.
Yeah, and just taking a look at like content, real quick. For you, what is the best video that you've made in that video essay style? Like what video do you look at and go, that's like a video that if someone asked me what sort of content do you do, what video would you link to them as like, okay, this is my best video, shows like what I can do and stuff.
Probably my like Kero video, because that video, it may
Hmm.
be like a year old, but it kind of encapsulates like where I'm at, like in terms of like editing and stuff. And just like topic wise. So
Hmm.
probably that video. It's not my
And
best, but it's a decent video, I think.
no, 100%. And is that video that you look back on and did you enjoy making that video? I thought enjoy probably with that situation isn't the best topic or the best word I could choose for it.
Yeah.
But like, was it a? Did you enjoy the creation of the video? Like, because
Yeah,
I
I
feel like
did.
with a lot of
Yeah.
these topics, you've got to, right?
100%.
Like,
I
if you
enjoyed it.
don't enjoy the creation of these depressing topics, right, you're gonna be like bored out of your fucking mind. So like, what was your video creation process for that video? Like, what did you do to create that video?
Well, mostly because I had like got introduced myself to a bunch of like new editing stuff. I just kind of
Hmm.
incrementally started making like each individual edit and then just kind of like Frankensteining the video together.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was really enjoying the process when putting together that video because it was a situation I had previously like known about, and I was like, wait, I might want to talk about this again, but like more comprehensively. And so I did, and I ended up having a lot of fun doing it too.
No, 100%. Like, I guess with these situations, right? It's very like, especially with commentary essays, it's very trial and error, right? Like you said, you've just got to piece bits together, and you've got to have like fun doing these sort of videos, right? Because like again, like I said, like I think the worst you could do while making these more serious type of videos or like that cover serious subjects is not having fun, either editing, scripting, or doing whatever with the video. Because again, that they are like a more of a darker tone, right? Like I guess you've got to balance it out for yourself while making the video. Like if you genuinely enjoy making that style of content,
Yeah, 100%.
and is that for you? Is that a similar like type of way you created your PewDiePie video, your PewDiePie's biggest troll video? Like, what's the difference between creating a video like that, which is more maybe story elemented, in comparison to your Kero the Wolf video?
Mostly, I guess it's just kind of doing what I did for like both videos, just gathering research or whatever, and just kind of
Mm-hmm.
structuring it like a little differently to like make it not as dark, you know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of my process if it makes any sense, but there's your
No, no,
explanation,
100%.
I guess.
And like doing those videos, right? So of course with that PewDiePie video, you had like a collaboration on it, right? Um, like what is your for you like moving more into the commentary stuff? Do you like doing that? Because I know of course like we get to your like taking a break in a bit. But did you enjoy doing collaborations and stuff like that and working with others? Something
Oh
that of
yeah,
course like I know plays
100%.
them.
Yeah, it was
Like
cool because you know
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like it's mutually beneficial for everybody else, and it
Mhm.
can just be fun in the process. Yeah,
No,
I
100%.
definitely enjoyed it. Yeah,
And
I
I
I
guess
plan to do it again in the future too.
and that's good to hear. And really, I guess that ties into some of the stuff that you do now, right? For a lot of people that may not know, you do quite a bit of like thumbnails, right? You do loads of thumbnails for people, and you've like dabbled in editing for Dingo. Like
Oh yeah.
for you, uh, like we talk about this and then we talk about your break because I feel like it's logical. So like when you're making like a thumbnail or editing, like do you enjoy doing that? Like what is the pluses of doing that for like someone else in comparison to doing it for yourself?
Well, for me, it's kind of, you know, like exploring different formats when it comes
Hmm.
to like designing the thumbnails.
Yeah.
Hold on. Um, but yeah, it's like, you know, exploring different styles, kind of figuring out what other people like as well, and kind of tweaking it in the process. So just making something cool, you know, because like graphic design and like video editing as a whole, I really only like recently started getting passionate about it because I mean those are two things you kind of have to master at least a little bit to kind
Hmm.
of like have a channel. I'm not saying you have to be like a fucking god at it, but like, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
it is something definitely in your spare time as like a hobby that you should definitely
Hmm.
look into doing because it can really be like beneficial for you and for everybody else if you decide to
Hmm.
outsource that and, you know, start working with people.
No, 100%. And like some of these videos that you made thumbnails for have got hundreds of thousands of views. And like I guess for you, right? Like when making a video, or just like for anybody that does make videos, one of the most important things is the title and thumbnail, right? So people will have a lot of people might have clicked on that video for the thumbnail, right? So like I guess for you, when you're making one of these thumbnails, is it less stressful than making a thumbnail for yourself or making a video for yourself, or is it more stressful doing it for someone else? Like, because what's your process there? Like, do you enjoy it more or do you enjoy it less? Like in that sense.
I'd say it's kind of, it goes both ways. I enjoy it more when I'm doing it for other people. It's pretty
Hmm.
relatively easy because what I end up doing is I make two project files. I have the like original one where I like got started on it and like started the design process and everything. I have the first version, and then I have the
Hmm.
second version where it's just a copy of the original, and I move things around and I add like changes to it and everything. And then when I'm finished with it and I do all the like color correction work and all of that, then I like send it to them. Cause like for me personally, when I'm doing like my own thumbnails, it can be a lot more like different, maybe stressful, kind of.
Yeah.
Because it just like because my standards for myself can be
Hmm.
very high sometimes.
Yeah.
Um, but I no, I usually like it's usually pretty straightforward. I tend to not like stress myself out with that kind of stuff.
Well, yeah, like I guess from like when you're doing it for yourself, right? You always have that level of like perfectionism, right? Like when I'm creating a video, I always want it to be the best of the best, right? Like the best I can make. And I guess like it could stress you out, right? If that's what you want to do, right? You want to make the best possible thumbnail, best possible video, whatever. For yourself, that's always something that you want to do, right? And it is a negative of doing that. And I know this might be a bit of a weird question to do with the thumbnails and stuff. Maybe something that you haven't even thought about. But is there a thumbnail that you've created that you enjoyed more than any of the others? Again, like I said, it's a bit of a weird question because I don't know if you can enjoy
I don't
making.
know.
Like,
I'd have to
one other
like,
thumbnail.
yeah, I'd have to go through like my drive really quick because I have like an entire like dedicated drive where I just have a folder of every like thumbnail that I think I've ever made, or like close to
Yeah, that's cool.
every like thumbnail.
Yeah, like
I
I
think
said,
the
it's
Hello
a bit
Neighbor
of a weird
thumbnail for
question.
Risky Ant. I think that was a thumbnail I really enjoyed making because that was like I was exploring like different designs for that one, and
Yeah.
that one took me like didn't take me too long to make, but I just really liked the way it came out. And that video ended up doing pretty relatively well for Risky Ant when he dropped it. So
hmm
yeah, I really enjoyed working with him on that video. So yeah, that was probably my favorite thumbnail that I've made.
And is that something that you enjoy doing? Is experimenting and trying new things, like within, if it's a thumbnail editing, video, or whatever? Is that something that you like doing? Is like branching out, trying new things? Because I guess on YouTube at least, if you don't try new
Yeah.
things and you don't adapt, right, you die out, right? So is that something you enjoy doing? It's just like experiment and trying what works.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. You know, because I think like
hmm
if you just get too used to one thing in one format, if the time comes where like push comes to shove and you have to try something new, you're gonna struggle, you know? And
Yeah, yeah.
that's kind of the point where I'm at, where like if I need to try something different or I want to per se, I can just do it.
hmm
You know, I can just like do it confidently and not really deal with
100%.
too much problems. So
And since like just while we're on the topic of content, a lot of people may know that you did like take a break, right? Like I know 2 months ago you addressed it, like why you stopped making videos and stuff. And for maybe people that haven't watched that and stuff, I'll ask you the question here. What was the reason behind you stopping like the content and stopping doing things?
So basically, I would get like I'd think of a topic to cover and I would get like
hmm
knee deep into like writing the script out for it. And then I
Yeah.
would like take a small break from it and then I'd come back with like half of the interest that I had when I originally started on it. And then
hmm
I just became a lot lazier when it came to just producing the video, to the
Yeah.
point where just my interest completely dies out and then the video never actually ends up coming out. So that's kind of why, in a nutshell,
hmm
why I stopped making content.
Well,
I don't have that creative drive I used to have when making videos.
yeah. And I feel like I feel that's a thing that happens, especially in the commentary community quite a bit, right? Is the drive. It's something I can 100% relate to with my main channel, is I don't have that drive anymore that I used to for making these longer form videos or making videos like that, right? I have a drive for interviewing, podcasting, breaking news and stuff like that. Love doing that sort of thing. But for that, I don't. And like, I guess that's a thing that comes on a lot of commentary channels specifically, of that some people just lose their motivation for whatever reason, right? It might not, you might not even have to have a reason. You might just slowly fall out of love with it, or you put too much pressure on yourself or whatever. I feel like that is a fate that succumbs to a lot of people. And are you planning on returning and coming back to making content, or are you happy just making thumbnails and editing for people?
I do want to come back because I want to kind of show what has changed since I've been gone.
hmm
Um, I have a lot of interest in topics that I've been just seeing going on around the internet, you know. So I
Yeah, yeah,
do
yeah.
want to make a return at some point. Um,
And
yeah, that's the plan.
is that what you want to do next? Is come back, show like what you've like learned from like doing the thumbnails, editing stuff, and like make like a brand new like
Yeah,
videos.
basically. But like, yeah, not like
Mhm.
directly though, you know, like I'll just like
Yeah, yeah.
be like candidly talking about just a topic, and you'll definitely see like
100%.
an evolution creative wise. That's the
And
plan.
I guess with that, it's some people genuinely need to take breaks right from content, regardless if it's a year, month, whatever, right? Like I feel like you've taken that break. In the meantime, you've made thumbnails for loads of other people. You've edited for Dingo, Bed, whatever. You've improved on some skills, improved on some stuff. You've learned new stuff, and you can now come back to apply that to your own channel and see where it takes you. Right? There's no stress on you to like do anything. It's just what you want to do at that point, I guess, because you've taken that break. You're at that liberty to just experiment again, like we were speaking about earlier. Experimenting, especially in commentary, is a really good thing to do. And I guess you're at the liberty where you can do that because you've taken a long break. No one's like putting any pressure on you to upload that content, do that stuff. You can go at your own pace.
Yep, basically.
And like in the meantime, while all the content stuff going on, I do want to move on to drama. I think for any commentator, a commentator always gets involved in drama, regardless if it's small, big, whatever. So would you just want to go over a couple of your dramas? Of course, there's a drama I do want to bring up because, well, I was partly involved. But is there any dramas that you've been involved in that come to your mind of like talk worthy?
I don't know. There's just so many. I think like all around it's just like really entertaining. I like the idea of being able to like make fun of people and then they like, they throw shade back at you. It's kind of, a tit for tat kind of thing. I like doing it.
Yeah. And
yeah.
Like if it's struggle for you to choose like a genre because you've been in so many, what's your favorite one you've been involved in?
I would have to say it was definitely the Noma Self drama. That was pretty
And
fun.
yeah. And for people that don't know about your involvement with the Noma stuff, would you just like to go over that?
Yeah, so basically I was in like a Discord call with a bunch of other friends and we were on the topic of like small commentary and I brought him up because like I don't know, the guy just like there seems like there's something like wrong with the dude. Like he seems like he just has a fucking like an ego problem that like a lot of people deal with when they get like success at like an earlier stage on YouTube. They just develop a massive ego. And I had like remembered I was watching a video from him. It was his Harley TBS video.
Oh no,
it was such a bad video. I just didn't like it because I feel like in that video he left out certain context to make like Harley, or he like would gloss over a certain context to try to make Harley look way worse than he actually was. And I just thought it was a really bad video, and I got into a huge argument with him in his comments about it, and it got to a point where I think he tried to say that it was like an ironic comment where he was like bragging about his sub count and then telling me to like shut the fuck up or whatever. And I screenshotted that and posted it on Twitter because I just thought it was a really funny response. It was just really goofy. And then we had our back and forth on Twitter, which eventually led to him, like an absolute loser, going on his Discord server and trying to like dogpile me by like getting his followers to unquote ratio me, which backfired miserably because I ended up absolutely shitting on the guy. And then it just ended in him like literally walking away with his tail tucked between his legs and just saying that he was like done interacting with me. Just basically essentially showing he has no backbone and that he's a coward. And that when things don't work out his way, he's going to walk away and just try not to engage with it. He's a coward. He's a pussy. I mean, that's the reality of it.
And that is the big thing with Nomas, and especially with that situation, because his Harley video is shit, right? Like, I remember him making a point about how his, like, ads or whatever he does, like, his ad sections of the video are, like, 2 minutes long and complaining about it, right? I know that video was arse and stuff, and
like,
his reaction...
Who cares?
Yeah, exactly, right? Like, I feel like as well, like, when you're doing an ad, like, what? You can't do a 20-second ad. You're being paid to talk about the product, right? Or talk about the brand or whatever you're promoting, right? Like, I think it's a bit unfair.
Minutes. Like, who cares? There's a thing called sponsor block. You can get it as like an extension, and it can like just move past the segment where
just, like,
the sponsor is discussed. Yeah, or you could just literally use like the little like fucking seek bar to just move past that part. Like, I don't know. It's just such a pedantic and like stupid criticism to make towards someone.
And with your situation, I guess, like you managed to like hurt his ego, right? His huge inflated ego. And I remember, of course, like being in a call with him while he was doing that. He was like promoting all these tweets, like telling everyone to like him and stuff and post memes and stuff. And it is very telling of the type of guy Nomas is, that he feels so attacked over a comment on a YouTube video that like, oh, maybe a video isn't up to par, or that he's done something wrong in that video.
And that leads to like a greater issue with like some of the people in his friend group too, because this is kind of like an echo chamber issue where they can like spread bullshit about people for like weeks or months on end, and it goes completely unchecked. Like none of them will call him out, and that's a problem, because like you can spread like really damaging information about somebody, and then it turns out later to be completely false, but they don't get called out on that. Like that is not something they get checked on, and that's a problem. It's a huge problem, because real friends call you out on your shit when you're wrong. That's what they do.
Yeah, and
they're not fucking yes men.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the issue that I personally took with the Dingo stuff, right? Is Dingo just got a random shot fired at him, and I remember like calling with him and Kitamushi at the time, and like speaking to them both about it all, and like getting it all straightened out, and like proving that Dingo, well, he done fuck all, right? But like no repercussions came back on Nomus for that, right? Saying about the IP stuff, until of course you had your issues with him, and Dingo then like later made a couple of tweets about it, and then got into a whole situation with him.
Yeah, exactly. And that same group of people were trying to accuse Domino of that stuff, and there was like barely any evidence to really prove that it was him either way. So it was just like really slanderous to do that.
Well, like
and
I remember
it didn't get called out.
Well, yeah, and I remember with the Domino stuff, because I remember covering like a couple of the Kimushu stuff in a video, and I felt like everyone's perception was a bit skewed on it. And I remember even just saying like Domino was accused, right? Like not even like, oh, Domino is this, Domino is that, right? Because at that point, right, like regardless if someone has done something, right, they're accused, right? There's no proof, right? Like people can be accused, and he's been accused at that point, right? And I got shit from both ends, from Domino and from fucking like Nomus and that shit. So it's like, yeah, I don't know. I feel like those situations, especially when you've got someone like Nomus, you can't win. Like regardless of what you say, you just can't win, because he's got such a huge inflated ego. And then you pair it up with someone who's very. I feel like Domino throws a lot of troll and emotion into a lot of the stuff.
That's the problem. Because like when you're a troll in the community, you're gonna become a target for like false allegations. And I'm not saying that's good, but that is just unfortunately the world we live in the community that we're in, where if you're a troll and you troll people and it pisses people off, there's gonna come a point where they're just gonna start lying about you like flagrantly because they don't like you, and it'll grow legs and people will believe it, and it just goes completely unchecked, and that's a problem. That's a serious issue.
And it also comes down to then the responses of the said trolls. Like I feel like because like the whole thing is trolling, that their response ends up being a troll, but that creates more issues. So like I know, and I feel like that's the issue with a lot of the Nomus stuff. Like even when Dingo like confronted Nomus in a call with like me and everyone, right, is that like Nomus is just a troll at the end of the day, right? But when he gets confronted in a VC, he folds completely. And that's evident there. And so it's like, for you, is that like a trauma you live back on, and you've just got to point and laugh at the poor motherfucker?
Yes, absolutely. I can't help but laugh at something like that, because I can't imagine just having such a massive ego to the point where you're like not really willing to admit when you're wrong. It's like it's really bad.
Like everyone,
it's a problem,
mistakes, right? Like, and like, what
absolutely.
But
it depends on the caliber of that mistake, you know?
Oh, yeah. And like the issue I find with it is, right, is it's a funny mistake he made, or not even a mistake. It was a funny thing he did, right? It was stupid. It was fucking retarded what he said, right? But it's his response that made it like, okay, then you're a piece of shit, right? Like, why are you responding to a criticism about like I think you said about ads? Like, no one cares. It's just funny. Like I don't know. I feel like Nomus's reaction to a lot of criticism, he takes, even with the whole thing with messaging like the 17-year-old and sending the Shota stuff, right? Is like he admitted to it, but now he's saying that like they consented to it. So it's like, I don't know. I just can't take any criticism or like acknowledge that he might have done something wrong for once.
Yeah, it's just it's comedy. That's really what it is. It's just total comedy.
Yeah,
it's pathetic.
Yeah, it just comes down to, again, like what you said earlier, is just getting such a huge ego real quick. Like that is Momus through and through, is the huge ego, and of course you were on the like respondent side of that. And just I do want to ask like another question about like so-called drama and stuff. Is there a drama that you've ever been involved in that personally that you had to take a step back out of, or is a lot of your drama like comedic sort of drama, like the Noma stuff, right, where it's like funny to look back at, or is there any drama that you think that you were involved in that was really serious?
Yeah, there was one drama
Mm-hmm.
that I was involved in. It involved like another small commentary YouTuber by the name of like Logic. You've probably never heard of him.
Hmm.
He did like kind of topic commentary essays. And I guess the kind of the like long and short of it was that he had like every fucking degen in the community, he got involved in like e-dating drama. And I
Oh my
guess the
god.
girl ended up cheating on him, and like he took her nudes and sent them to like a
What?
bunch of other people. And it was just really weird and fucking creepy. And then I made a thread talking about it, which
Yeah.
was a stupid idea in retrospect, because I like my thread, I didn't really discuss the ages too much, and I feel like things kind of got blurry for a while. The details did, and
Hmm.
I feel like I kind of unintentionally led to like people to like possibly thinking he was like a pedophile, even though that was not
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
intent with that thread. That was never
Yeah.
my intent ever to like accuse him of that, because I was 15 when I made that. I'm not saying that
Hmm.
like I'm void of all responsibility. Like absolutely, I handled that very poorly, but like I've stayed away from that kind of drama because I've realized it's just like very damaging shit when you get involved in it, and it's
Yeah.
like it's
Yeah.
not worth it. It's definitely not worth it, because I mean, it ended up getting like cleared like out like very like later on that like he was obviously a minor as well. It obviously didn't justify his behavior, but you know, it was also just clarified that hey, he was also a minor. What he did was still
Yeah.
bad, because I mean, he'd also gotten involved in like doxing shit too, which was like really bad, and like sending death threats to people because of my thread being dropped and everything. He just did not handle that situation well. Um,
And
it
I,
was a
I feel like.
situation that
Mhm.
was insane. It was utter
Well, yeah.
insanity.
Like, and I feel like that sort of like outline of like there's something that really weird happens with like a commentator and another user, like usually like that they send something really inappropriate or they share something inappropriate, right? And they don't react well, and the situation gets like increasingly worse, and well, whatever, right? I feel like that is a very common thing, especially now in commentary, right? Small commentary is, if you look, there's someone who's been accused of something at least once a week, right? At least, like,
Yeah.
I feel like that is the big thing right now, right? If you look back last year, there was a lot of doxing going on, and there was a lot of other degenerates like that. Right now, there's either a lot of accused people, or there's a lot of people in the small commentary community that have done horrendous things like that. And there's no in between, right? So there's no like in between to have a laugh about it or whatever. It's either really serious or it's false.
Yep.
And like for you, as like you said, like you saw how damaging something like that could be. Did you still like avoid those sort of situations? Like when you see a situation like that, do you stay away from it, or like what's your take on that? Because again, like I said, there is a lot of situations like that,
I
especially in
tend to like
commentary.
kind of avoid it, but like also just
Hmm.
kind of like make a joke out of the situation, because it can
Yeah,
be like pretty funny. I think that's
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
the approach I take with it, is I just kind of try to like joke about it, but like try not to get too like in deep with it, because you know it's just not worth it.
No, 100%. And like, again, I guess you could relate that to a bit of your Nomus response as well. Like, especially later on with like the stuff that he did as well. Is a lot of your stuff was just jokey, right? There was no like serious response or whatever. And I think that there always needs to be people in situations like that that will make a funny remark and will make a joke or a meme about it, right? But because again, commentary is a genre that, like we said earlier, like it always changes. There's always stuff going on. You've always got to experiment, right? And in commentary, it just seems like right now, at least, there's a lot of creeps. Like I know there's always been creeps, but right now it just seems like it's a hot spot. And I guess for a lot of people, it can be really depressing, right? So if you don't make a joke out of it, like, what are you going to be sad about it, depressed about it? You might as well point and laugh.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the point. Yeah, you have to like reach, because you know it's like it's the
Yeah.
internet. It's
Yeah, exactly.
as fucked up as it can be sometimes. You know, you just sometimes you got to laugh. That's kind of
Yeah,
the
yeah.
point that I've reached.
And, and I'll just put it out there. I'm not saying like if there's like a grooming guy, like there's a groomer going around, like to point and laugh at like the victim or whatever
Yeah,
like that.
absolutely. Yeah,
Like
definitely
point and
not.
laugh at him. But like I guess with the more accusatory situations, like the domino stuff, the dingo stuff. It's like you got to point and laugh at how ridiculous those situations can get and can build to. Otherwise, like, there's no point really, is there? Like, I feel like it. Well, what are you doing to come online to what way more negative stuff and way more dramatized stuff? Why not just point and laugh? Because I guess everyone comes online to have a laugh and like escape from whatever's going on in the real world. You come online to just have a laugh. You don't come online so that then get involved with more serious stuff, right?
Yeah.
And just like my final question and round it back. I know I sort of asked this a bit like right at the beginning about like what you're doing next, right? Like content wise, you said, is there anything else that you want to do content wise or like just in general, like going forward, like in the next year? Like, is there anything that you've got your eyes set on, like that you want to do, or is it just like trying to get back into that video creation?
First, well, I think the first thing that you addressed there, like I want to get back into like the video creation thing,
Mm-hmm.
and then I want to possibly like experiment with different topics, you know, and talk
Yeah,
about
yeah,
different things. I think that's the
no,
plan
100%.
going
And
forward. Yeah.
And is it just getting it back into that like routine of making like videos, like researching, getting loads of clips, like piecing it together and doing that? Is it like trying to just get back into making those videos consistently?
Yeah. Yep.
And like I guess when you have taken
Although I
such a
won't
long break.
lie,
Mhm.
consistency is definitely doing a lot of heavy lifting because when you're doing
Yeah,
like video essays, it takes a while. It's like once every other
yeah,
month that you release a video with
yeah,
that type
exactly.
of content.
Unless you're on like a very I know look at Toastify for example, right? And unless you've got like that very fast paced type where like you
Yeah,
can
and you're
do
able to
that.
like increase your like output as well as you
Yeah,
can, then
yeah.
yeah, you're able to upload a lot more, you
Whereas,
know.
like, if you're doing it by yourself, like making the thumbnail by yourself, editing, getting everything together by yourself, making the script by yourself, you are more inclined to upload once a month, once every other month, like 3, 4 videos a year, like, regardless if you want to or not. Like, if you're doing it on yourself or like by yourself, like, you can't really go any quicker.
Yeah.
And just like the I keep saying last question, but this is like the last question, not like for you in particular. But is there anybody else you would like to see come on the TrashTalk podcast?
Um God, I don't know. Because there's a lot
Could
of good like creators that I'd like to see on
Mhm.
here. It's hard to really like name one in particular. I guess just
you can name
be on
several if
the
you want.
yeah, just be on the lookout, I guess, you know.
Yeah, man, like scouting constantly. And like on that note, I really do appreciate you coming on Trash Talk eventually. I know we had a lot of issues with like VC stuff going down with Discord, then my account getting suspended and crap like that. But we finally got the episode done.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And yeah, man. And thank you everyone for watching today's episode of Trash Talk. If you did enjoy today's episode, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. But I've been your host, Samuel, and I will catch you in the next episode of Trash Talk.